Welcome in Warsaw. Welcome to our conference. I think that very, very important, especially not for our panelists, but for us. More for us than for the panelists. We will talk in Polish, but it's possible to understand everything in the speech and also in question because we use this equipment. And please try this equipment now, not during presentation. Dobrze, przechodzimy na język polski. Tak, no ale jest tak mała. Dobrze, więc mówimy po polsku. Szanowni Państwo, witam bardzo serdecznie w Warszawie. Witam bardzo serdecznie w perspektywach. Mam nadzieję, że tutaj te perspektywy będą takim synonimem, że w rankingach, Państwo, no większość z Państwa wie, ja jestem zwolennikiem rankingów, będziemy szli do przodu. Bardzo serdecznie, pozwolicie, że już usiądę, bardzo serdecznie proszę o sprawdzenie sprzętu, dlatego że bardzo zależy mi na tym, żebyśmy mieli dobrą łączność. Paneliści już mają sprzęt sprawdzony. Chodzi mi o to, żeby... To są bardzo trudne czasami sprawy i chodzi mi o to, żeby pewne detale lingwistyczne nie umknęły odpowiedzi na najważniejsze pytanie. Także bardzo proszę, panowie są przygotowani, słuchawek jest duża ilość, paneliści już mają wprawę od wczoraj. No a teraz, proszę Państwa, pozwólcie, że przedstawię panelistów. Zacznę oczywiście od kobiety. Ja spróbuję to dobrze wymówić. Snow. Ale to jest tłumaczenie, ja już wiem, że to jest tłumaczenie. No. Second name, one. Tak, it's similar, yeah. Szanowni Państwo, osoba, która jest menadżerem naszego rankingu, który jest na pozycji numer 1. I to trzeba zrozumieć i to trzeba wziąć pod uwagę. Bardzo liczę na tą dzisiejszą prezentację. Jak Państwo doskonale wiecie, żyjemy w globalizacji całej nauki, świata, uniwersytetów i to jest świetne z jednej strony, ale także jesteśmy pod bardzo dużą presją i tak być musi. W tym też nie ma nic złego przy tej globalizacji, że mamy wszędzie ranking list, taka czy inna. I ranking szanghajski, można go lubić, można go nie lubić, można się z nim zgadzać mniej lub bardziej, dyskutować, prosić o wyjaśnienia, ale to jest znak rozpoznawczy w tym momencie. Tak jest i udawanie, że tak nie jest, że my się dostosujemy do czegoś innego, jest nieadekwatne, co nie zmienia postaci rzeczy wagi innych rankingów. Ja na przykład osobiście oprócz szanghajskiego bardzo cenię Nature Rising Star, ale to jest zupełnie inna sprawa. Każda uczelnia musi się umieć odnieść do problematyki, żeby szła do przodu, no, żeby te perspektywy, przez których tu jesteśmy, były perspektywami do przodu. I teraz Paul Wolters. Bardzo ważna prezentacja. Dlaczego, proszę Państwa? Dlatego, że, tak jak mówię, musimy poznawać inne rankingi. Z dobrych ośrodków, gdzie włożono bardzo dużo pracy, żeby troszeczkę, korzystając też z obiektywnych parametrów, troszeczkę inaczej ująć porównywanie. Ale nie tylko porównywanie top 20, ale także, żeby to dla uczelni było taką drogą do przodu. I to jest bardzo ważny plus tego rankingu, którego ja też osobiście bardzo cenię. No i szanowni Państwo, coś, co dla mnie jest takim największym wyzwaniem, bo wiem, że wywołuje bardzo dużo dyskusji. Mianowicie pan Gero Federer, multirank. No ekspert, jeśli idzie o multirank. Multirank zdobywa sobie pozycję, zdobywa sobie uznanie i wywołuje cały szereg komentarzy. Ekspert od tego rankingu i zaraz nam na ten temat będzie mówił. Ja tylko chciałem, żeby tak troszeczkę, jak Państwo mnie znacie, ubarwić nasze spotkanie. No bo mamy tutaj Polish perspective, prawda, czyli polskie perspektywy. będziemy słuchać i myśleć o tych Polish perspektyw. No ale jak jest na dzień dzisiejszy? No, ja uważam, że nie jest najlepiej. Szanghaj ranking, no to mamy praktycznie rzecz biorąc tylko i wyłącznie dwie w tej części zasadniczej. Uniwersytet Warszawski i mój uniwersytet. I w kolejce następne 4. AGH, Uniwersytet Adama Mickiewicza, Uniwersytet Wrocławski, Śląski Uniwersytet Medyczny. Mówię o całości, o uniwersytetach. W dyscyplinach, które Państwo w Szanghaju zaczęli, jest troszeczkę lepiej. Jeszcze raz mówię, my musimy umieć znać taką rzeczywistość, jaka ona jest. No i teraz przechodzę do następnej, do Szanghaju, to już mówiłem. Teraz jeśli idzie o Leiden. Mamy w tej chwili tylko i wyłącznie 19 polskich uczelni, które aplikują, żeby być oceniane. To jest niedobrze. To jest niedobrze. Ale wydaje mi się, że ilość, jak patrzyłem się na lata, jest coraz lepsza. No i przechodzimy do multirankingu, gdzie mamy 34 uczelnie, które aplikują. Z różnymi tam przerwami, bo na przykład Uniwersytet Warszawski w zeszłym roku nie, ale no to są pewne takie ruchy, które muszą być. Pokazuję to Państwu, już więcej nie powiem ani słowa, Państwo będą mówić i paneliści, tylko i wyłącznie dlatego, żeby pokazać, że musimy zrobić krok do przodu. Bo jeżeli mamy 400 szkół wyższych, tak zaokrąglam już, żeby nie było dyskusji, jakie mamy te szkoły, to musimy zrobić krok do przodu z bardzo prozaicznej przyczyny. Musimy pokazać nasz potencjał, naszą siłę, a to, że czasami wychodzą również nasze braki, to jest normalne, bo nigdy nic nie jest idealnego, nie ma uczelni idealnej. Jeżeli Państwo chcecie znaleźć błędy w Harvardzie czy w Stanfordzie, gdzie ostatnio byłem, proszę bardzo, w każdej chwili służę. To nie o to chodzi. To nie jest wyścig na olimpiadzie o pierwsze miejsce. To jest wyścig, żeby podnieść jakość danej uczelni. To jest zupełnie inny cel. My bardzo często myślimy, tak jak dziennikarze nas atakują, Państwa na pewno też, no czemu Was nie ma wyżej, prawda? A ja im tylko odpowiadam, pokażcie mi polską firmę, jedną tylko polską firmę, która przez 25 lat transformacji jest w pierwszej setce. Pokażcie mi taką firmę. Ale ja już się wyłączam. Szanowni Państwo, teraz poproszę Panią Snow, no bo szanghajski jest na pierwszym miejscu, o tą prezentację. Bardzo proszę.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here I am again. Again, very glad to be in this wonderful meeting. And I saw some very interesting and dynamic debates yesterday, and very good sense of humor from all the speakers. So hopefully I can contribute to something to the wonderful conference today. And today I'm going to talk about our rankings. Firstly, here is another outline of what I will be going through today. I'll firstly briefly discuss the history, and then our main international ranking, the academic ranking of world universities, and our new ranking. Yesterday, I went through something about the history. We started in 2003, and we were the first multi-indicator international ranking in the world. And it's been 15 years, and when I go back to look at the history, yesterday we talked, it was actually kind of unexpected, because AWU was established as a benchmarking activities for Shanghai Jiao Tong University. The university was selected as a top university to be built in China in the late 1990s, early 2000. And we at the time, Professor Niancai Liu, the founder of Shanghai Ranking, he was the leader of the team making strategic plan for Shanghai Jiaotong University. So at the time, they developed this benchmarking exercise to find out the gap between Chinese universities and the other universities in the world. So after the ranking was published, they received enormous responses from the media, the universities, students, but the original purpose of the ranking was different. And here is a graph of our indicators, and you can see that we only have 6 indicators. We have the award staff of an institution winning Nobel Prize and Fields medals, and highly cited researchers, and these two together measure the quality of teachers. And then we have the alumni of the institution winning significant awards that will be capturing the quality of education. And then we have 2 publication indicators, including the publication indicator as well as the publication in Nature and Science. So one is measuring kind of like a quantity of the research, and another measures the top quality research. And then we add in the PCP, which is like a size control indicator. And from these 6 indicators, we can clearly see that our ranking has very strong focus on research. And a very strong focus on probably physical science and engineering research. So in order to take into consideration of social science schools and universities, we give more weight to social science publications. And also for some schools, they are like purely social science schools, we allocate the NS, Nature and Science, weights to other indicators, so they are not that disadvantaged. And this system of indicators have been the same for 14 years, since 2004. So many universities use our ranking to track their performance because nothing has been changed. If they grow in the ranking, so they are comparing to all the other universities in the ranking with under the same system. And from the 6 indicators, we can see some characteristics for our rankings. We have objective indicators. We don't have any opinions or reputations involved in the ranking. We have third-party data. All the data that we saw from the previous figure can be accessed publicly, like from the awards websites, from the publication database, from the university's website, etc., like that. And we're trying to be as transparent as possible. So in addition to the transparent methodology, we put like the scores and stuff online, like other rankings. And an important feature for us is that the methodology has been stable, unchanged, constant for 14 years. So this is an exercise conducted by a researcher from Beijing Normal University, Mr. Wu Yunfeng. And he actually estimated what would be happening for Chinese universities if they had 1 or 2 or 3 more highly cited researchers. And each year we receive a lot of emails after the publication of rankings from universities around the world. They search for their publications, for example, they calculate their indicators scores and they send them to us. We can help them to check. And surprisingly, they do such good calculations. Some of them have like calculations very, very close to what we have calculated. So our results, again, is verifiable. And since the ranking was published after 2003, it attracted a lot of attention, and some of them were unexpected. But for example, here on Science, we got this publication describing the impact of our ranking on the French institutions. And here's a photo of the Minister of Education from France visiting Professor Niancai Liu and Dr. Ying Chen in the picture. And also, rankings are today more and more commonly used in the strategic planning of universities. But we commonly see, we probably see a strategic planning stating that we would want to be in the top 100, top 300 in the world. But our rankings are actually, because it's verifiable, it's actually used and addressed in specific universities' strategic plans, such as the University of Manchester, a top university from Russell Group in the UK. They specifically stated where they want to be in our ranking by the time period of 2020. And here also, by the University of Western Australia, they set a goal specifically related to our ranking. And but we often talk to universities about how they look, how they use our rankings. But I think what we found was that for the universities who travel quickly up the rankings, they don't just look at the rankings. They have a strong overall vision and strategy, and they often have a unique culture at the university of how to build it. Here are some results of the ranking, general results. We rank about 1,300 universities every year. Getting into the top 500 is super competitive because the top 500 are very, very productive universities. And this year we publish the candidates from 500 to 800, so give more university an indication of where they are compared to other universities. And our published list covers universities from 53 countries. More are covered in the ranked list. And here are just some brief results about I've shared some of them yesterday, the statistics of the number of universities in the ranking for different countries. Also the top 10, most of them are from US and 2 from UK. So still dominated by the US and UK. And here are some results for Poland. But yesterday, Mr. Swinsky did such a good summary, and you could probably find this all on the material we have. So after the drinks from the gala dinner yesterday, I decided to do more work. And I went back to my room and look at the data. Except what we already know here, we have 2 in the top 500 and 4 in the candidate. So having strong possibilities and capabilities to be in the top 500. And I look at the detailed raw data for some universities. And I found out that for Warsaw University, University of Warsaw, their NNS, Nature and Science publications, actually reaches close to top 200, 250 in the world. So better than the performance of the university. And the university's Nature and Science publication is greater or more than all the other Polish university combined. So it's very centralized to Warsaw University, the top Nature and Science publications. And if we look at publications, the publication output indicator that we have, we say that Jagiellonia University actually have the highest, higher than Warsaw University. And the publication number of publications for the university is close to the top 200 or 250, which means it's also better than the performance of the university overall. And we saw a very interesting figure here for Warsaw University. They have such a strong increase in their publication over a year. From last year's ranking to this year's ranking, their publication increased by 18%. This is such a big jump. So, okay, so about our new ranking. After 2003, we will publish the overall ranking. We actually published a set of subject rankings in 2009, but it only covers 5 subjects. So mathematics, physics, chemistry, computer science, and economics. Why these 5 subjects? Because we know the Nobel-like or most significant award in these 5 subjects, like Nobel Prize, Turing Award, Fields Award. We haven't expanded to many other subjects because we had no idea what award would be maybe for oral science or for civil engineering or for like material engineering. So, but in last year, 2017, we expanded our ranking to 52 subjects. And here we can have a look briefly on the 52 subjects. Still, most of them are from engineering, and 6 from natural science, life science, and some from social science and medical science. You can find all this material on our official website. They are listed in tables as well as a form of a report. And here are the indicators that we use in the subject rankings. They are still similar to the overall ranking. We have PUB, measuring the quantity of research. We have top and NCI, the numbers of papers published in the top journals, and categorized, normalized citation impact. It's like similar to FWCI in Scopus system. So 1 indicates for the world average, and if you have a CNCI above 1, you would be higher than the world average. So these 2 indicators used for measuring the quality of research. And award, we have the award here. And we added in this very important trend in today's higher education, international collaboration. So how did we get the award? That was a very interesting story. This year, we started early this year, and to have this academic excellence survey conducted. But it's not a reputational survey because we don't ask them about their opinions on universities. Instead, we ask only the heads, deans, and chairs of faculties and and departments from different universities. And we ask them to agree to publish their names and affiliations on our website. And we ask them what are the top journals or top awards in their field of research. So we are asking them about the criteria that we might be using for the ranking instead of just asking them about the university's performance. And also we only ask the top 100 universities in the world. So the opinions are from the academic leaders and from the top 100 universities. We invited 1,500 people, heads, deans, and chairs, and more than 200 of them came back to us in early May, so late April. And the survey is still going, so many more researchers they apply online on our website and submit their opinions later on. And the results covers from 52 universities and covers 45 subjects. And here's just an example of what we publish online, the names of the participants, their institution, and which subject they are in. And we got very, very good results from the academic leaders. We got 27 awards in 19 subjects for us to use, and 94 journals in 33 subjects. And during the whole period, the process, we felt very moved by the diligence, by the responsibilities of the researchers who participate. They look into details, like, for example, one of the computer science professor is a head of department for a top university. He sent me a very long list of journals, like 30 or 40. And I asked him, sir, do you all consider this as a first-year journal? Because normally people just give me 5. And he was very upset. He told me that they actually organized a meeting with every important member from the faculty. They had a discussion about what are important journals or papers in the field, and they give it to us. So the results we received, they actually put a lot of efforts into finding out the answers for us. And then this made our ranking possible. We used the award in the ranking and finally came up with the general results here. Different from the overall our ranking, we ranked more than 4,000 universities. So getting onto each subject is very competitive. Some of the subjects we might publish 500, but some of them will only publish like 300 or 100. So if a university is on the list, they actually came out from like 4,000 or 3,000 universities. At the end, 1,400 universities from 80 countries are included on the published list. And here we see still a strong dominance of the United States. They appear many times on different subjects, but we see a catching up of Chinese universities, and we actually did better than the UK, so that was surprising. And for universities from Australia, the Netherlands, and the United States and China, they cover all 52 subjects. So that was very well done. And if we look at the number ones, 15 of the subjects are from Harvard. So Harvard is still really, really strong. And we got 8 from China. And we were very pleased with the results because we didn't know that we could actually make top 1 in some of the subjects. Although most of them are in engineering, we have very, very poor performance in social science for Chinese universities. Some of the lists we have none, but we have just 1 or 2, but it's surprising and pleasing results for us. Now, results for Poland. Here are just firstly some general results for Poland. Polish universities appear in 19 subjects, and 19 universities appeared in the ranking. So 19 might be a lucky number today. We got here a list of universities and their subjects on the list. So again, if they are on the list, it's a very competitive list, comparing with maybe 4,000 or 3,000 universities. Let's have a look at some of the best ranked universities in Poland. Jagiellońskiego University, they have the highest number of subjects, and also AGH did really well in 2 of the subjects, mining, mineral, and metallurgical. They all went into the top 100, and 33 was a very strong ranking performance. And a lot of the subjects from where Polish university did well concentrated on agriculture science and mathematics, and 5 of them went on the list for clinical medicine. And also, because Mr. Swinsky did such a good job, so I did more work on this. I had a look at the raw data again for Polish universities, and I found that out that, again, for Warsaw University and Jagiellonian University, the research quantity, the output is already really good. For example, in physics, the publication were all in the top 200 in the world. And if we look at some quality indicators, we can see that in specific areas such as agriculture science, we have the Warsaw University of Life Science and Poznan University of Life Science. They both did really well and had a lot of top papers in agriculture science. And also, if we look at the very interesting for NCI, so the quality indicator, if you have 1, you are at the world average. If you have more than 1, you are above world average. And the Polish university did very well in some subjects, like physics and public health and instrument science. Some top universities had a CNCI indicator of more than 1.5, sometimes up to nearly 2. So about, from 50% more better than the world average, or even nearly double the world average. So very well done. Some of the universities like Sesja Medical University, Warsaw University, Jagiellonian, AGH, and Warsaw University of Technology, they all had very good CNCI in some of the subjects. And we see a strong international collaboration for Polish university in specific subjects such as physics, agriculture, and engineering subjects. So for our ranking, I think every ranking is different. And I had, I don't know if you noticed, I had a picture of Sheldon in one of the PPT. I think every ranking would have a personality attached to it. And for us, I think we are like Sheldon. Probably we are a bit nerdy, or we are a bit slow, but we can be looking into details very much and fast about details. And I think if no ranking is perfect, if this is true, then from our point of view, we try to make everything transparent as possible, so it can be used better for universities. And thank you very much.
Okay, thanks a lot for this presentation of the history and temporary time of ranking Shanghai. Szanowni Państwo, dziękujemy bardzo osobie, która jest ekspertem, jeśli idzie o ranking szanghajski. Nie wiem, na ile dla Państwa pewne informacje były nowe, dla mnie część była. No ale dziękując za prezentację, zapraszam teraz do komentowania pytań. Słucham, proszę bardzo. Proszę bardzo, to mam prośbę o krótkie przedstawienie, może być język polski, angielski, no, mówimy po polsku, jest tłumaczenie, ale można też bezpośrednio oczywiście.
Thank you. My name is Dennis McGrath. I'm speaking at 11 o'clock this morning. I am from the European Network for Accreditation of Engineering Education. And I would just like a comment from Snow Wang. In terms of your criteria for global ranking of subjects, it's based almost totally on research criteria. That's true. But does excellence in research always mean high quality teaching of programs? Or should the accreditation status of programs such as engineering be considered as a criterion in global ranking? That's my question.
Thank you so much. I think at the moment we capture no teaching and learning in our ranking. That's a pity. But the thing is, even in our national ranking, the Chinese ranking, we're trying to capture teaching, but we find it's very, very hard to measure the quality of teaching, and especially if you want to, cut out the quality of incoming student and to make sure that their quality of teaching is accurately measured. It's really hard, even for one country. And if we consider the ranking in terms of international ranking for many, many different countries, for many different circumstances, measuring quality of teaching is even more difficult. So at the moment, as I said, we are very, very careful about developing new rankings. And our rankings has not changed much from 2003. If we are not sure about how to accurately measure teaching, at the moment, we can't take it into consideration. It's also being responsible for universities. And sorry about the second question, I didn't quite understand it. Sorry. Oh, okay. Thank you.
I think you've answered comprehensively, and I quite understand what you're saying. It is very difficult. But for example, there are international accreditation agreements. There is the Washington Accord, for example, which covers, I think, about 15 countries, where there's an accreditation acceptance among the countries of each other's work. I will later be talking about our database, where we now have 2,800 programs, including 47 from Poland, which have reached standards which allow them to receive our quality label, the EURACE label. I quite understand the difficulty, quite understand it. But perhaps it's something that should be considered in order to give a complete picture.
Yeah, definitely. And we actually, considering program level, we actually tried in our sport science schools and units ranking, we're trying to measure the program level, but we found if we can imagine all the universities submitting very detailed data about their programs, about their students and teachers, and to us, efficiently, on time, for free, and we can probably do it, but that's not going to be possible. But we're still, we're giving up on measuring the program level, but at the moment, I think we're just lacking the resources to do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Another comment, question? Okay, thank you, Madam Snow. And finish this part. Na koniec tej części, no bo tu mieliśmy mówić o polskich, prawda, możliwościach. Szanowni Państwo, te wyniki z 2017, ja uważam, że są bardzo pozytywne. Dużo bardziej niż 5 lat temu. Pan prezes Siwiński się ze mną tutaj zgadza. Ważna bardzo sprawa, bardzo ważne dla nas informacje. Oczywiście nie wszystko jest jasne, ale osobiście bardzo się cieszę z tego, że zarówno w tej pierwszej grupie, no to jest kwestia czasu, kiedy następne dojdą, ale w tej grupie jak gdyby czekającej, tej waiting list jest już tak dużo, w tym są uczelnie, mocne uczelnie techniczne. To pokazuje zresztą, ja wiem, że wszyscy Państwo macie różne zdania na temat parametryzacji, ale to pokazuje, jak politechniki, uczelnie techniczne, o, źle powiedziałem, uczelnie techniczne w Polsce poszły do przodu. To się potwierdza w Szanghaj i to jest bardzo, bardzo optymistyczne. Szanowni Państwo, przechodzimy do punktu drugiego. Profesor Wolters, ekspert, jeśli idzie o ranking, który ma pewną specyfikę. Leiden University, Netherlands, ale nie wiem, czy Państwo zauważyli jedną bardzo ważną rzecz. W Szanghaju dominuje Ameryka gigantycznie, Wielka Brytania, na trzecim miejscu Chiny. No i to nie jest zaskoczenie za duże. Na czwartym miejscu jest Netherlands. Holandia, przepraszam, bo to się robi show. Holandia. To o czymś świadczy.
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much, first of all, for the invitation to speak. I always have a special feeling when I'm speaking in Poland, because Poland is the country where the idea was born to study science empirically. In the early 20th century, you were the birthplace of the science of science, and you can be proud of that. In my presentation, I would like to discuss the question how to make sense of information from global university rankings. And I'm based at this center. We are studying science and technology and innovation from an empirical perspective, with a focus on how to value science and scholarship in the broad sense, including the arts and the humanities. And valuing means more than ranking. It also means appreciating and understanding the role of knowledge in our current societies. Our new research program is based on the attempt to meet the new needs for information about research. It's clear from yesterday also that scientific research and also scholarly work in humanities and social sciences have become very strategic enterprises. It's no longer sufficient to just keep up with your literature or with your closely knit small circle of colleagues. You really need to be able to process complicated information in order to develop new methodologies and new forms of knowledge. We also want to create an interesting synergy between quantitative and qualitative research in our area, also to counter the tendency to narrow down the performance indicators to those things and those dimensions that are easily measurable and are easily visible and that therefore tend to dominate the landscape. So we want to push back to that tendency to focus on only quantitative indicators. And we also want to support and develop richer forms of evaluation practices. And this links very closely, I think, to the fantastic speech that was given yesterday by the professor from Sweden, who indicated an important difference between managerial leadership and academic or intellectual leadership. And we would like to push back a bit the tendency to have managerial considerations dominating evaluation practices, because this is based on the mistaken idea that accountability can best be met by forms of accounting. Although the words look similar, the accountability is really something very, very different from being able to fill in the accounting books. one of the things we do is we try to provide free tools for research leaders and scholars, also individual researchers, but also managers and leaders of universities. And this is one of our tools, the FOSS Viewer, which is a tool. It's independent of databases, where you can create very interesting maps of research, both based on citation relations and on the processing of the text of abstracts, and including the full text of articles. So you can also discover what actually the research of a university is about, what the main profiles are, and how you can find, for example, interesting partners for new forms of collaboration. One of the things we also provide for free, and I want to focus on that now, is the Leiden ranking. The colleagues from Perspektywie were so very kind to link my very complicated title of the presentation in the program to an earlier presentation we gave in Moscow in 2015. Thanks for that. And there in that presentation you can also find all the technical details about the Leiden ranking and in what sense it differs from some other global university rankings. So I'm not going to delve into that now. I'm now focusing on, we're 2 years further, on the thing that we want to do with our new Leiden ranking, which is basically moving beyond rankings. Because rankings have become so dominant that they now also have, apart from the very interesting information, also negative effects, namely the creation of tunnel visions and narrowing down the performance indicators. So we want to help to break away from that and to make the rankings into more interesting tools. So this can be found on our website. We have a multi-dimensional perspective. There are many different dimensions that are important in scientific and scholarly research. And we also don't want to aggregate the performance in one number. And we are also actually focusing only on objective data about research. Of course, this also creates immediately the limitation that our ranking is not about teaching. This is the reason why we collaborate with you, Multirank, in order to help to develop a ranking which is more comprehensive. This is an example of the Polish universities that are now visible in the current version of the Leiden ranking, ordered according to the percentage in the top 10% highly cited articles. So this is not a ranking based on the number of articles, but you can sort the universities in any way you want. So this is the point. We don't provide a ranking, we provide tools with which you can rank yourself according to the criteria that, according to you, are important. This can all be found on our website. An example here is, so as you saw in this slide, generally the Polish universities are at a level of half of world average in terms of citation impact. This doesn't mean that they're doing badly, but this is just the state of affairs. If you look at the citation patterns of the universities in general, so taking everything from a university together. This is not in all fields the case. So this is, for example, mathematics and computer science, where 2 Polish universities are clearly above world average in citation impact. And you can also see here that you can select your own criteria. We also provide information about collaboration. This is an ordered list of universities according to their share of the publications that have been written in an international collaborative form. And again, this has to do with the mission and the profile of the university. So we would not want to promote that you only look at this criteria and try to get as high as possible, because for some universities maybe regional collaboration is more important than international co-authorship. So this really depends on also the mission and the profile of the university. The interesting thing, and this was one of the components of moving beyond ranking, is that we don't only provide a list view, but also two other forms where you can process the information about the universities. One is the chart view and the other is the map view. The map view provides you simply a map of the world where you can simply look at how the relations are between the universities from a regional perspective. And this is an example where you can look at the relationship between the number of publications and the highly citedness of those publications for all Polish universities. You can also click at a university and you will see the profile. This is all available for free. You don't have to pay anything to get this information. You can also download the data in Excel sheets and do your own statistical analysis. Of course, if you go down into the departments, you will need more information, but this is already a very good impression. So this is, for example, the profile of one university in Poland. So you can also gather impressions of the differences in profiles between universities. Okay, now I would like to move to my second part of and last part of the presentation, because this is the big question, how to use rankings. We are increasingly flooded by information, and we have developed some ideas about this, and I would like to present these ideas to you in the course of a number of years. It started with this manifesto we published in Nature in order to warn against the misuse of metrics. And of course, I'll come back to that at the end of the presentation. We value the role of objective metrics about research, both about performance and about the process, which is often underestimated. I'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. But at the same time, if they become a target, we easily get into a process which Robert Merton called in the early 70s goal displacement. And this is when an instrument starts to become a goal. And I have heard a couple of examples, to be very honest, yesterday in the discussions of statements that were clear examples of goal displacement. This is the reason why we proposed in the Leiden Manifesto a number of principles, both for researchers and for evaluators, that should be taken into account if metrics are being used or indicators are being used for the evaluation of research, both the process and the performance and the outcome. Number of these principles are increasingly followed by both evaluators, data providers, and research evaluation agencies. But still, it's often difficult to put this in practice in the right way. So this is a process that's ongoing, and I'm quite happy that actually the response to the Leiden Manifesto was much bigger than we expected. There are now, I think, about 13 translations of the manifesto. There is a special website that you can easily find on the web, where there are also examples of how to use this. Of course, this is part of a broader movement we called, that we indicate as responsible metrics, where general principles are being indicated. I would like to point to diversity, which is about the diversity in the academic workforce and the need also to take into account diversity of the research process. Transparency is especially important for university rankings, because most global university rankings, to be honest, are not as transparent as they claim to be. It's very difficult to do the calculations independently. And of course, we must be certain that we make the best data, that we make use of the best data available, at the same time recognize the limitations of quantitative measurement. Not everything that is important is also measurable. Okay, what does it mean for the university rankings? First of all, I think it's wise, and here I would like to link to the wisdom that was created in Poland in the early 20th century, that if you try to measure a social system, you're already changing it. And this reflexivity, which should be easily recognizable for you because it's smack in the middle of your intellectual tradition, is very important to understand and to make use of in the application of the information of university rankings. And I've indicated the points here. Basically, what we are talking about is not one quality, but a series of qualities of scientific research that is only added up in the process of evaluation, but we should be aware of the origin of the qualities and maintain and support creative research environments that produce, that are able to keep producing those qualities. And it's basically about interactions. Very often we talk about impact as if it's one thing. Well, that's not the case. Impact is a term of evaluators. What is actually happening in society are interactions between scientists and society, between research and other sectors. And the whole point is that we want to promote the qualities and the interactions. And it is important to keep understanding that the proxy, performance, and impact are summarizing container concepts that sometimes that should not be leading. They can be used, but in a very modest way. Okay. So now I come to the gist of and the end of the presentation with a proposal of 10 principles for the responsible use of university rankings. We published these earlier this year in a blog post, and we are putting this on the table in a number of communities in order to further develop this. And we think these principles are important to start to make use of them. And 4 of them are about the design of university rankings. First of all, a generic concept of university performance actually doesn't exist. Universities are unique in their own ways, and of course there are general things like international visibility, international collaboration, which I think is especially important in Poland, but you can't add it up into one performance indicator. And this is actually sometimes claimed by university rankings. For example, the Times Higher Education ranking claims that it is measuring the performance of universities. This is not the case. Second, it's very important to understand the difference between percentages and absolute numbers. Both are important to understand, but you should take into account the difference between these indicators. And most global university rankings mix them up in combined aggregate indicators, which as a result don't mean anything. Third point is universities should be defined in a consistent way, and this is especially complicated because of the role of hospitals, which are big producers of papers, factories of papers, and also all sorts of related research institutes need to be understood quite well in order to be able to define what a university is in the context of ranking. And last, we think that university rankings should be much more transparent than most of them currently are. We also propose 3 principles for the interpretation of university rankings, and this is of course especially relevant for you. Comparisons between universities should be made keeping in mind the differences. As I indicated, a University of Arts and Humanities really has a different role from a University of Technology. Even the meaning of research is different. And it would be really detrimental if we would start to make only visible a particular set of activities in research and scholarship and actually forget about the others. Uncertainty in university rankings should be made visible. This is often not the case. There is a kind of pseudo-precision, but many measurements about university rankings are uncertain. And of course the rankers know this very well, but partly because rankings have become a commercial business, for a lot of them this is often put a bit in the background. And we think it should be it should be made very, very clear how, where the uncertainty is. And last, an exclusive focus on the ranks of universities should be avoided. What I mean with this is that often the underlying information, the value of the indicators is more informative in relation to other information about that university than whether it's in the top 100 or the top 200. And we think that it's a mistake, a serious mistake with potentially quite detrimental effects to only focus on the ranks, like is also happening in the discussion yesterday. Last point, 3 principles we propose for the responsible use of university rankings. So this is, of course, the step after interpretation. We think it's very important to keep in mind that not everything can be measured in these rankings, and that those dimensions that are not visible should not be forgotten. An important point for university leaders is that there is always a tendency for performance indicators at the level of the university to trickle down. If a university wants to get higher in the rankings, it is natural to ask from all faculty and all directors to also support this. But this is a mistake, a category mistake in thinking, because a lot of performance criteria relevant at the level of the university are actually not that relevant or reliable or valid at lower levels. So it's quite important in the leadership of universities to defend departments and individual research groups against the trickling down effect of global performance indicators. Of course, the same holds for the country level, from country to university. So we are living in a complex system with different properties at different levels of aggregation, and this should be taken into account. I didn't hear a lot about that yesterday, but I think it's more important than we often realize. And the last point, university rankings should be handled cautiously, but they should not be dismissed as being completely useless. The last point is because maybe you think that I think that in the end it's useless. We don't think so. We think it's very important to have important information. And I would like to close with the observation that many countries in Central Europe have the same problem as you have, that you actually want to become more competitive and more international player in research and teaching and scholarship, because you want to contribute to world-level knowledge and world-level teaching. And I think this is a very good goal and should be indeed promoted also by the policy of the government. And most countries in Central Europe have the problem that on the one hand they need to break open the old boys networks that are partly a legacy of the political past and partly also a legacy of how the politics have been taken over under new flags, basically the same mechanisms. Actually, if I say old boys network, it's an understatement. It's more old granddaddy's network that we're talking about. That should be broken open in order to be able to get this more diverse workforce in science and scholarship, to give much more space to the role of women in academic research at all levels, both in the natural sciences, in mathematics and in the humanities, and also to have much more cultural and ethnic diversity in academia. For this, objective criteria and objective measurements like metrics are useful because they measure performance in an independent way. At the same time, the problem is that if those metrics and indicators are made absolute themselves, then you get the problem of goal displacement, and we have seen the effects of that, for example, also in the Netherlands, where the rich variety of dimensions of research tends to be narrowed down to only those dimensions that can be measured in the indicators. And the trick is to use the strong points of the metrics against the political bias and the lack of diversity in universities and academia, and at the same time be aware of the potential risk and to limit the metrics to a particular goal, set of goals in order to reach that. So no goal displacement and at the same time break open the old granddaddy's networks. That's a big challenge, but I'm sure you're wise enough to do that. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, professors. And now we start with comments and discussion. If anybody want to ask professors or comments, I think that is one sentence for me was very, very important when we discussed about the position of universities in rankings. It's necessary remember this point from your presentation. Keep in mind the differences between universities, because it's very important. It's very difficult to take indicators to 100% great. Practically it's impossible. Shanghai try. You put the presence another way. Only, Szanowni Państwo, 19 polskich uczelni. To jest bardzo, bardzo mało. To jest bardzo mało. To jest bardzo ciekawe podejście, bo jak Państwo zwrócili uwagę, różne szkoły wyższe, Uniwersytet w Toruniu, uczelnie techniczne bardzo wysoko. To pokazuje pewną różnicę, no, w tacie właśnie skierowanie na bardzo konkretne już dyscypliny. I to jest bardzo dobre. To jest bardzo twórcze, jeśli się z tego wyciąga wnioski. Nie jest tak generalne jak Szanghaj, który ma troszeczkę inne uwarunkowania, ma inne podejście, bo tytuł tej drugiej części prezentacji pana profesora, jak korzystać z rankingu, how to use. I to jest klucz, bo jeżeli będziemy do tego podchodzić jak do tabeli piłki nożnej ligi, to nie ma sensu w ogóle. To w ogóle tego nie róbmy. My musimy do tego podejść właśnie w taki sposób, jak to użyć. A teraz poproszę naszego ostatniego gościa, mianowicie bardzo istotna sprawa, bo żebym był dokładny. Multirank. Szanowni Państwo, multirank jest wdrożony przez Komisję Europejską w 2013 roku, a jesteśmy w Unii Europejskiej. Wielowymiarowy ranking. Udział nasz 38 szkół wyższych, a o reszcie powie szef i bardzo ekspert, jeśli idzie o ten ranking. Okay, please start.
Yeah, thank you very much and good morning to everyone. Now I'm going to present uMultirank to you. It's a pleasure for me to be here, not for the first time, and I think most of you already know uMultirank, or at least a little bit about uMultirank. It has been presented to Polish University several times. So today I do not have to go into the basic introduction of what uMultirank is. Instead, I want to focus on the benefit uMultirank has as a benchmarking tool for universities to analyze their strategic position within the national higher education system as well as in the global context. Here on the logos of the lead institutions in uMultirank, you again see WTS. They are one of the lead partners in the uMultirank consortium. And by the presentation of Paul, you already learned a lot about uMultirank, because many issues he elaborated on, let's say, the epistemology of rankings, the design of rankings, and also the ethics of rankings are part of the basic philosophy of uMultirank. So you will find this in uMultirank again. So today I will give you only a very short general introduction to uMultirank. Then I will show what uMultirank can offer as a benchmarking tool and provide a short outlook on the current status and the future of uMultirank. So just to repeat again, uMultirank is very different from the other global rankings, QS, Times Higher in particular. uMultirank is a multidimensional ranking. We do not mix up the individual indicators in one overall composite score, because we think there's neither theoretical nor practical reasons to assign a particular weight to a particular indicator. Why 40% on reputation and not 30 or 25 or 70, no one knows. So in multi-rank, each indicator is ranked on its own and not mixed up to a composite. Instead of producing a league table, we compare and rank universities into 5 different categories per indicator, from A to E, top performance to poor performance. One of the basic aims and purposes of multi-rank in the development of multi-rank was to make transparent and visible the diversity of higher education institutions. So multi-rank is not limited to internationally oriented research universities as the other rankings do, for good purpose, as we heard from Snow. In the development of the Shanghai ranking, the purpose was to benchmark the Chinese universities against the leading universities in the world in research in science and technology. Hence, they have indicators looking on research only. But multi-rank wants to show what Paul already mentioned, that there are different qualities and different excellencies. There's excellence in research, of course. There's excellence in knowledge transfer. But there's also excellence in teaching or international orientation or regional engagement in universities. And different universities, different type of higher education institutions can perform very well on those different dimensions. And last but not least, we do not have we do not have an overemphasis on institutional data and results in multi-rank, but provide comprehensive subject rankings similar to what the Shanghai colleagues are doing. So just a few words what others say on multi-rank. I like particularly this phrase by Andreas Schleicher from OECD, who says that multi-rank is putting the users and the students, other users, into the driver's seat of determining which universities are doing well on what and why. And this is an expression of the multidimensional approach, and as you will see with the slides from our web tool, that the user can decide what is relevant for his comparisons. So just a short scratch on the scope of multi-rank. In our 2017 publication, we almost covered 1,500 higher education institutions, 38 from Poland. Among those 1,500 universities, more than 1,200 have provided comprehensive data. The others are included with bibliometric data and data on patents. And all the bibliometric data and patent data in multi-rank, they are provided by the WTS, so they are in a way identical to the data presented in the Leiden ranking. Those institutions represent 99 countries. Again, we missed the round number by 1. In our subject rankings, more than 3,500 faculties and departments provided data and they are presented with more than 10,000 individual degree programs. And one thing that is unique to multi-rank in international rankings is that multi-rank also includes the student's perspective. One of the aims of multi-rank is to provide information to prospective and more internationally mobile students to help them to make an informed choice on their university. And from their perspective, it is important in a way to have a peer perspective, to learn or to see what other students think about the conditions at their university and their study program. So multi-rank also includes a student satisfaction survey, and up to now in all the subjects we have included more than 100,000 students responded to this questionnaire. So different data sources in multi-rank provide a multi-perspective view. Do not want to go into the detail, but multi-rank combines self-reported data, which we collect by online questionnaires at the institutions, the student survey, already mentioned it, and the bibliometric data and the patent data. So we, as you see, similar to Shanghai again, we do not use reputation. We really refer to performance of universities and not to reputation. So what can multi-rank offer as a benchmarking tool for the strategic analysis and management of universities? I want to give you some examples with screenshots from our interactive web tool. And I can only invite you, go to our web tool, to the website, play a little bit with it, Maybe for those who do not know it yet, on the first glance it may look a little bit complex and difficult, but as soon as you have made one tour through it, I think it's easy to handle, and you will see the uses of it. First of all, I want to show you multi-rank presents those data and those indicators that are really relevant for the strategic management of universities. A couple of years ago, I think in 2014, the European University Association made a survey among their member universities asking them which indicators are important or relevant for you, for your strategic management. And here you see the percentages of institutions that this indicator is highly relevant for us. And we look on these indicators. 2 out of the 15 indicators most important to universities, they are covered by your multi-rank. There are 3 that are not covered. One is the sheer number of research staff. Another one is employment. And I think this is unfortunately one of the really, really relevant dimensions which at the moment cannot be covered by any international ranking simply due to a lack of comparable data. And this is also the reason, for example, why the European Union started an initiative to develop a European graduate tracking system, but at the moment this is still in a pilot phase and not an elaborated system. And the other indicator, third indicator we do not have is investment in campus facilities, which is simply an input factor. The least important items, according to the perspective of universities, they are not covered by your multi-rank, including reputation again, for example. So, what can we say on the research performance, for example, of Polish universities? In your multi-rank, we have comprehensive data on 34 Polish universities on those indicators, compared, for example, to 12 Polish universities in Times Higher ranking. Here I made a selection of the indicators looking on research and research-related activities in knowledge transfer, international orientation, and regional development. In your multi-rank, we have, as I said, we do not have a composite overall score, so there's no league table, but we introduced something that gives an idea about the overall performance. We introduced what is here called top score sorting. This is similar to the Olympic gold medal system. This means the universities are sorted first according to their number of A scores, then according to their number of B scores, and so on. And this is only a part of the list of the 43 Polish universities. What I want to show to you, have a short list on the names, but then if you go to individual indicators and sort by individual indicators, the lists are very different. Here, for example, if we look on the percentage of international co-publications, you see that there are 5 universities who have either an B or an A score. And if you look for example, on top-sided publications, here the majority of Polish universities is not ranked very high. This is also similar to what we already learned yesterday by the Elsevier presentation and also from the Shanghai ranking. And for example, if we look on an indicator of knowledge transfer, the percentage of joint publications with co-authors from industry and business, again, different universities score high. Here you see, maybe not too surprisingly, that the medical universities, they score high here. They obviously are relatively intensively cooperating with non-university partners in their cooperations. So your multi-rank provides a very differentiated view. We do not say this is the best university in Poland, but if you look on this dimension, put a set of universities score higher, and if you look on a different or another dimension, other institutions score high. So the same can be done on the subject level. This is an example for mechanical engineering. I selected a number of indicators with a focus on research, knowledge transfer, and the international orientation. Here you see, for example, Warsaw University is listed several times. This means that there are different departments or faculties included in your multi-rank. And if in the web tool, if you mouse over the name, you will see which faculty it is. This is, of course, cannot be done in this screenshot. And again, you have the same options. Look on different indicators, and you can see the profile of your university. So in addition to these ranking lists, your multi-rank offers detailed comparisons. There's one option on the website where you can compare 3 universities, just selecting them by name. For this example, I was looking for mechanical engineering and selected Warsaw Technical University, Gdańsk, and Wrocław Technical University. Here you also see those faculties that are included. First, you see this what we call sunburst chart. This is an at a glance overview on the research, or on the performance profile of the university. You see the dimensions marked by the different colors, and each bar represents one particular indicator. In the web tool, you see the indicators if you mouse over which indicator it is. And the full length bar means this is a top group position A, and the small bar means poorer performance. And you see that also for some departments, some indicators and data are lacking. Here you see the lack of data in the teaching. In the teaching component, this means for mostly that those two universities did not participate in the student survey or had a too low response rate to be included in the analysis. Here, for example, you can see at a glance that Warsaw Technical University scores quite high in the research dimension, the red one, and on some indicators of internationalization, whereas Gdańsk Technical University has some good indicators in the knowledge transfer dimension, the blue, and also in teaching. So you can compare them on the one hand by this sunburst chart, but then if you scroll down on the website, you see a comparison. These are the same three universities again. You see the comparison indicator by indicator. And again, you see the first, I think this was Warsaw, has some very good results on the research dimension. They have a top score in the citation rate and the percentage of top-cited publications, whereas the second, I think it was Gdańsk, performs quite well on two indicators on knowledge transfer. Unfortunately for Wrocław, a number of indicators are missing. So you can compare in a very differentiated way the profile and the strength and the weaknesses of individual universities. The last thing I want to show to you, I think this is an important tool for individual universities if you want to compare your university not only to the whole sample of universities in your multi-rank, but to universities who have a similar profile, who are in a way similar institutions. You can also use the multi-rank tool by starting with your university, typing in the name, and then you will see first, this is what is displayed here, the empirical profile of your university. This has nothing to do with ranking or differences, just a description of the profile. For example, here Jagiellonian University in the multi-rank context has a medium percentage of expenditure on teaching. It has a high percentage of graduate students, is a comprehensive, rather comprehensive university that, of course, is offering all levels of degrees from bachelor to doctorate. It has a relatively low number or percentage of foreign students, and you see some general information compared to the other universities in your multi-rank. It is a large university, and it is a public and a rather old university. And now you can decide, or you can identify universities who are similar to your own university by selecting some of those criteria. In this, for example, if I select those criteria that are highlighted now, you see at the end 19 universities have a similar profile on those criteria, and then you can compare your own university with exactly those universities that are most similar in their profile in order to avoid that you compare apples with oranges. Of course, you can compare your university to world leading universities, but this is a tool to compare to similar universities. I think this is good both for benchmarking, but also maybe a tool to identify new potential partners for cooperation. And we are cooperating in multi-rank with the European Network of Technical Universities, Sesja. They use our data for benchmarking among the memberships. And I heard from one or some of their members that they said we did this, and then we found really new universities which may be good partners for cooperation, which up to now we never had on our radar, because we did not know that they are really similar in their profile. So this is what your multi-rank offers to individual institutions. In the meantime, there are a number of countries where we almost have a 100% coverage, at least of the public universities in your multi-rank. And for those countries, of course, your multi-rank can also be used to make analysis based on the system level. Of course, the more universities are in, the better the greater the benefit of your multi-rank is to analyze the strength and the strategic position of the country. So I can only invite other Polish universities to join your multi-rank. So then I think then it will also be an even better tool to analyze the situation of your country. I will come to the end to give a short outlook on your multi-rank. You know, your multi-rank has started with the funding for over 4 years by the European Commission. We now have a new funding period until 2019. And while your multi-rank has been fully funded by the European Commission in the beginning, we now have a co-funding by the European Commission, by the German Bertelsmann Foundation, and by the Santander Universities Division. They are sponsors of your multi-rank, but without any commercial interest in your multi-rank data. Now, at the moment, we are in the process of data collection for the 2018 edition. This has almost been finished. We are in the stage of the final verification and consultation with universities on some open questions or problems with the data. What we did in your multi-rank, we started in 2017 to use national verified data instead of self-reported data. On the one hand, by this, we did this in the last year for the US and for the UK. By this, we could, on the one hand, increase the number of institutions from those countries on which we have a comprehensive data set. But at the same time, this helps to reduce the burden for universities to deliver the data, because we pre-filled the questionnaires with those data from national statistics, and then the universities from the US and UK simply had to check those data and maybe correct them. For the next edition, we will do this in addition for Sweden and the Netherlands, and our plan is to extend the scope of countries on which we will use this pre-filling approach. Of course, this means that this can only be countries which have very good national data systems that fit into your multi-rank. So at the moment, our plan is to publish the next edition in the last week of May. And at the same time, the registration for the next round, for the 2019 edition of your multi-rank, will start in February. So new universities who are not participating, they can register on our website, and those institutions that are in, they will be contacted again anyway. So in addition to the institutional ranking, the subjects, or the group of subjects that we will update for the next round, will be the sciences and engineering. This is mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, plus a number of engineering disciplines like mechanical, electrical engineering, industrial engineering, civil, and maybe 1 or 2 additional new. So this is the outlook for your multi-rank, and thank you very much.
It was the last presentation in this session. Comments, question? Professor Kistryn, the floor is yours, but 5 minutes, not more.
Panie rektorze, proszę się nie obawiać, po polsku nawet. Szanowni Państwo, ja chciałbym zrobić komentarz w zasadzie, może Państwo się odniosą też do niego, Państwo paneliści. 2 komentarze. Naprawdę to, co panowie profesorowie tu prezentowali, z jednej strony to, co Gero prezentuje, no moim zdaniem to jest narzędzie, które jest bardzo cenne. Źle się nazywa, to zawsze od pierwszego spotkania powtarzam, że to nie jest multi-rank, tylko to jest benchmark, ale to wprowadza pewne niejasności. Natomiast pewna niedogodność tego systemu jest, że oczywiście lepiej jest kategoryzować w grupy i takie generalne oceny. Natomiast dla śledzenia trendów, no jednak może się to okazać zbyt gruba ocena, no bo jeżeli w ciągu 3 lat ciągle jakaś dziedzina czy jakiś obszar ma A, to nie wiemy, czy on się poprawia, czy się nie poprawia. Wtedy lepsze są są lepsze liczbowe indykatory. Oczywiście wtedy, i to chciałem podkreślić i zwrócić się do IREG-u, gdzie też mamy wiceprzewodniczących, to co pan profesor Wouters powiedział. Indykator jest pięknie, jeżeli jest liczbą z dokładnością do 3 cyfr po przecinku, tylko musimy znać jego niepewność. Bo to jest zasadnicza sprawa. Bo jeżeli potem prezentujemy nawet tą tabelę kolejności rankingową z jakimiś liczbami jako wynik, czy znormalizowanymi do 100%, czy jakiekolwiek inne wyniki, to jeżeli nie wiemy, jaka jest dokładność tego wyniku, no to ta tabela może być zupełnie zaburzać obraz. I dlatego moim jakby postulatem, którym już tutaj z Waldkiem rozmawialiśmy, żeby IREC może zainicjował pracę, czy też sami twórcy rankingów, żeby zainicjowali pracę nad tym, żeby określać niepewności przynajmniej niektórych indykatorów. Bo ja się zgadzam, że ilość nagród Nobla w szanghajskim rankingu to nie ma żadnej niepewności. To jest liczba dobrze określona. No ale w QS określenie reputacji, z jakąkolwiek by nie wchodziła wagą, to tam trzeba koniecznie powiedzieć, jaką to jest niepewnością. I dlatego praca nad tym jest konieczna. Ja zgadzam się, że tak jak to ocenienie jakości dydaktyki jest bardzo trudne, tak ocenianie niepewności jest bardzo trudne, bo dopóki pan rektor mnie nie powołał do administracji, to moje życie jako fizyka było może poświęcone mierzeniu różnych rzeczy, ale pomiar sam w sobie to drobiazg, natomiast określenie dokładności... To już właśnie zakończam. Dlatego
zacznie opowiadać o swoim życiu fizyka, to...
Nie, to pan... Dlatego wydaje mi się, że kolejnym krokiem oprócz tworzeniu i poprawiania jakości danych w rankingach jest rzeczywiście określenie dokładności. Dziękuję bardzo.
Dziękuję bardzo. To były bardzo istotne pytania. Czy panowie chcą skomentować i państwo? Tak, no. Bo benchmark to na pewno.
Yeah, thank you. I think you made an important point on this issue of analyzing trends. I think your multi-rank is quite new. Up to now, we do not present this analysis because in the first 2 years, we had to do some adaptations to the indicators. We will certainly do this. And I completely agree that this cannot be done in a meaningful way with those broad rank groups. There we have to go to the indicator scores to show and to present changes over time. Yeah.
Jeżeli nie chcecie państwo komentować, nie? Okej. Proszę bardzo, pan prezes Siwiński.
I have the question to all our speakers. The future, I am sure, I think that majority of us are sure that the future belongs to the rankings by subject, due to many reasons. But the question is, how many subjects can we rank, but rank in a responsible way? Shanghai ranking published 52 subjects. Perspektywy published in our last ranking by subject 68, as I remember. How many subjects we can publish? The colleagues from the Arab Center for World University Rankings published more than 258, as I remember. How many? Where is the line? You know, the line we should stop.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, this is a very good question. Thank you very much. We are taking a slightly different approach here because, in principle, the number of subjects is an arbitrary decision. It depends really on the context of the evaluation, what the precision should be. So this is why we have developed, on the basis of the Web of Science data, a classification system which is dynamic because it's based on the citation relationships between publications. So this is basically created by researchers themselves. And we distinguish 3 or 4 different levels at which you can then distinguish different subjects. Now, how can this be used? I think the next step will be, and I applaud the emphasis on subjects, I think that's very wise, but I think it should be combined with a step to go from rankings to benchmarking. As my colleague from the Shanghai ranking indicated, the original motivation for the Shanghai ranking was actually a benchmarking exercise. I think that was a clear and historically correct statement. I think we need to go back to benchmarking. So, for example, we are developing together with a technical university at Delft a tool which couples the VOS viewer to all databases that the university has, which enables individual researchers to make a map of their own citation environment, their own collaboration environment, and to quickly identify partners, competitors, possible students, other universities in whatever country, on the basis of subject-specific characteristics. So this is going down in the level in a way, and it's this really is work. So you need to. So I think rankings are useful management information at the level of universities. As soon as you go to the level of departments and PIs of internationally oriented research group or internationally renowned scholarship groups, it doesn't have to, you need more refined tools. And I think going down in the organization with refined benchmarking tools, that's very helpful. And I think the fact that we now can produce maps of science on the basis of advanced computer science algorithms is very useful to support also qualitative judgment, which is well informed by quantitative indicators. And I think that's the future.
Thank you. Thank you. I totally agree with Paul about the subjects. It depends on the context about the rankings. And I will just add a bit more from another two aspects. One of them is from technical aspect. I think most of the rankings that we currently look at uses the categories already classified by the database because it's more easily accessible. If we want to we actually spent months doing the reclassification of subjects, and still at the moment we have not got to a result that we can use for our ranking, because it's really hard when you go into the journal level, or if we want to go to the paper level to reclassify the subjects. You can go to a very small subject and you can reshape the subject. But the thing is, if we want to have, like, for example, the CNCI number or the FWCI number, we need the background citation data from the database, which is not available to us, unfortunately. And we don't have the people to really reshaping a lot of the subjects because it involves lots of data collection and calculation. So when we did our subject ranking, we look at the major subject systems in different countries. For example, the CIP system in America, and we look at the OECD's subject they have a subject system, and we look at the Chinese subject system, and we actually found that there are common characteristics in different countries. Although there are like if you look down to the level of small subject, that can be very different, but then to the large level between countries there are lots of similarities. So when we were developing our subject ranking, we look a lot into this. And another point, I think, still back to the resources of what we can do in the future, and if more data can be available to us from the database, maybe we can do more. Thank you.
Yes, I can only agree that this decision about the number of subjects depends on the purpose. So one of the major purposes of your multi-rank is to provide information to students, and then we have to think on what are meaningful definitions and delineations and or groupings of subject to students. To give an example, we know that many students, they want to study something with media, yeah, so for us it does not make much sense to distinguish further between media management, media design, but put them together and then maybe introduce some filters in the web tool so that they can filter the information but have a broad idea of media as a subject. And of course it also depends on the availability of indicators. I think it does. Personally, I think it does not make sense to publish a ranking for subjects where you then only have 4 indicators, which are, in the end, not the best indicators for those subjects.
Because our time is over, but only one suggestion. I remember simple is best. Okay. Proste jest najlepsze. Ja się boję teraz strasznie, obserwując, a ja jestem zwolennikiem rankingów z wielu powodów, jak już mówiłem, obserwując ogromną ilość wskaźników, które chcemy w jakiś sposób porównać. Już nie tylko naukę, co nam szło stosunkowo prosto, pominąwszy problem z naukami humanistycznymi i społecznymi. Chcemy porównać edukację, chcemy porównać internacjonalizację, chcemy porównać bardzo wiele rzeczy, że zaczyna to się robić taki cross-matching. Nikt nad tym dokładnie nie zapanuje i to pytanie, w którym momencie jest ten złoty środek. Bo pytanie kluczowe, co my chcemy uzyskać? Chcemy odpowiedź na jakie pytanie? I tutaj multirank pokazuje, to jest oczywiście benchmark fantastyczny i trzeba to robić. Ja się dziwię, że tak, no, nie wszystkie punkty zawsze wypełniamy, musimy to poprawić, ale nie jesteśmy tu odosobnieni. Ale co my chcemy w pewnym momencie osiągnąć? To jest kluczowe pytanie, bo jak pójdziemy w tak dużą specyfikę, oczywiście uczelnie są różne, nie można porównywać Politechniki z uniwersytetem, bo to i tak, ale no, w pewnym momencie, jeżeli tego nie chcemy porównywać, to musimy sobie odpowiedzieć, czy to jest tylko narzędzie, gdzie my oceniamy podobne parametry w dziedzinie takiej czy innej, czy oceniamy uniwersytet jako całość. A tutaj wtedy będzie to najtrudniejsze pytanie, no bo simple is best. Jeżeli wejdziemy w setkę wskaźników, no to jest wtedy już zupełnie inna sytuacja. Ale bardzo, bardzo serdecznie wszystkim Państwu dziękuję za tą sesję. Mam nadzieję, że nas jeszcze bardziej do uczestnictwa w tym zachęciła i do analizy no, pod tym podstawowym pytaniem, jak tu pan profesor Wouters powiedział, no jak to użyć i po co to użyć. Dziękuję bardzo. Jest teraz, okay, thanks everybody. Now it's time to, okay, yeah. Goodbye, everybody. We got to coffee break and to a coffee. Okay, thanks a lot.